The name of the topic is population. The people, as we know, are important to develop the economy and the society. The people make and use resources and are themselves resources with varying quality. Hence, population is a pivotal element in social studies. Therefore, it is important to know how many people are there in a country, where do they live, how and why their numbers are increasing, and what is their composition or the characteristics. The Census of India provides us with the information regarding the population of our country. A census is an official enumeration of population which is done periodically. In India, the first census was held in the year 1872, and the first complete census, however, was taken in the year 1881. Since then, censuses have been held regularly every 10th year. In this video, we will be learning about first, the population size and distribution, that is, how many people are there and where are they located. Second, about the population growth and the processes of population change, that is, we will see that how has the population grown and changed through time. And thirdly, we will be discussing about the characteristics or the qualities of the population, that is, about their age, their sex composition, their literacy levels, the occupational structure, and the health conditions. So let us start. First, we will be discussing about the population size and distribution. In this, we will be learning about two things. First, India's population size and distribution by numbers, and second, we will be discussing about India's population distribution in terms of density. So first, we will be discussing India's population size and distribution by numbers. India's population as on March 2011 stood at 1,210.6 million, which accounts for 17.5% of the world's population. These 1.21 billion people are unevenly distributed over our country's vast area of 3.28 million square kilometers, which accounts for about 2.4% of the world's area. The 2011 census data reveal that Uttar Pradesh, with a population size of 199 million, is the most populous state of India. Uttar Pradesh accounts for about 16% of the country's total population. On the other hand, the Himalayan state of Sikkim has a population of just about 0.6 million, and Lakshadweep has only 64,429 people. Almost half of India's population lives in just 5 states. These are Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, Bihar, West Bengal, and Andhra Pradesh. Rajasthan, which is the biggest state in terms of area, has only 5.5% of the total population of India. Now let us discuss about India's population distribution in terms of its density. Population density provides a better picture of the uneven distribution. Population density is calculated as the number of persons per unit area. India is one of the most densely populated countries of the world. The population density of India in the year 2011 was 382 persons per square kilometer. Densities vary from 1,102 persons per square kilometer in Bihar to only 17 persons per square kilometer in Arunachal Pradesh. The northern plains and Kerala in the south have high to very high population densities because of the flat plains with fertile soils and abundant rainfall. Assam and most of the peninsular states have moderate population densities. Hence, hilly, dissected and rocky nature of the terrain, moderate to low rainfall, shallow and less fertile soils have influenced the population densities in these areas. Now let us talk about the population growth and the processes of population change. Population, as we all know, is a dynamic phenomena. The numbers, distribution, and composition of the population are constantly changing. Now, this is the influence of the interaction of three processes, namely the birth, the death, and the migrations. So, first, let us discuss about the population growth. What do we mean by the growth in population? Well, the growth of population refers to the change in the number of inhabitants of a country or territory during a specific period of time, say during the last 10 years. Such a change can be expressed in two ways. First, in terms of absolute numbers, and second, in terms of the percentage change per year. The absolute number is added each year or decade is the magnitude of increase. It is obtained by simply subtracting the earlier population, example that of 2001, from the latter population, example that of 2011, and this is referred to as the absolute increase. India's population has been steadily increasing from 361 million in 1951 to 1,210 million in 2011. The rate or the pace of population increase is the other important aspect. It is studied in percent per annum. Example, a rate of increase of 2% per annum means that in a given year there was an increase of 2 persons for every 100 person in the base population. This is referred to as the annual growth rate. From 1951 to 1981, the annual rate of population growth was steadily increasing, which explains the rapid increase in population from 361 million in 1951 to 683 million in 1981. Since 1981, however, the rate of growth rate started declining gradually. During this period, the birth rates declined rapidly. This declining trend of the growth rate is indeed a positive indicator of the efforts of birth control. Despite that, the total additions to the population base continue to grow, and India may overtake China in 2045 to become the most populous country of the world. Now, what are the different processes of bringing population change or about the population growth? So, there are three main processes of change of population: birth rates, death rates, and migration. The natural increase of population is the difference between the birth rates and the death rates. Now, let us discuss each of these. First, let us talk about the birth rate. Birth rate is the number of live births per 1,000 persons in a year. It is a major component of growth because in India, birth rates have always been higher than the death rates. Now let us talk about the death rate. Death rate is the number of deaths per 1,000 persons in a year. The main cause of the rate of growth of the Indian population has been the rapid decline in the death rates. Till 1980, high birth rates and declining death rates led to a large difference between the birth rates and death rates, resulting in higher rates of population growth. Since 1981, birth rates have also started declining gradually, resulting in a gradual decline in the rate of population growth. Now, let us talk about the third component of population growth, that is migration. Migration is the movement of people across regions and territories. Migration can be both internal, that is within the country, or international, that is between the countries. Internal migration does not change the size of population, but it does influences the distribution of population within the nation. Migration plays a very significant role in changing the composition and distribution of population. In India, most migrations have been from the rural to urban areas because of the push factor in rural areas. These are the adverse conditions of poverty and unemployment in the rural areas and the pull of the city in terms of the increased employment opportunities and the better living conditions. The urban population has increased from 17.29% of the total population in 1951 to 31.80% in 2011. There has been a significant increase in the number of million plus cities from 35 to 53 in just one decade, that is from 2001 to 2011. So this was about the population growth or the population change. Now let us discuss about the population characteristics. First, we will be talking about the age composition. The age composition of a population refers to the number of people in different age groups in a country. Hence, the number and percentage of a population found within the children, the working age, and the aged groups are notable determinants of the population's social and economic structure. The population of a nation is generally grouped into three broad categories. First, the children, who are generally below 15 years. They are economically unproductive and need to be provided with food, clothing, education, and medical facilities. Then we have the second category, that is the working age. They are between 15 to 59 years. They are economically productive and biologically reproductive, and they comprise the working population. And the third category is the aged, ones who are above 59 years. They can be economically productive, though they may have retired. They may be working voluntarily, but they are not available for employment through recruitment. The percentage of children and the aged affect the dependency ratio because these groups are not producers. Now let us discuss about the second quality or characteristic of the population, that is the sex ratio. Now what is sex ratio? Sex ratio is defined as the number of females per 1,000 males in the population. This information is an important social indicator to measure the extent of equality between the males and females in a society at a given time. The sex ratio in the country has always remained unfavorable to females. Kerala has a sex ratio of 1,084 females per 1,000 males, whereas Puducherry has 1,038 females for every 1,000 males. However, if we talk about Delhi, then there are only 866 females per 1,000 males, and in the state of Haryana, there are 877 females per 1,000 males. So this was about the sex ratio. Now the third important characteristic of the population is the literacy rates. Literacy is a very important quality of a population. Obviously, only an informed and educated citizen can make intelligent choices and undertake research and development projects. The low levels of literacy are a serious obstacle for economic improvement. According to the census 2011, a person who is aged 7 years and above, who can read and write with understanding in any language, is treated as a literate. There has been a steady improvement in the literacy levels in India. The literacy rate in the country, as per the census of 2011, is 73%, 80.9% for males and 64.6% for the females. Now, another aspect or the quality of population is the occupational structure. What do we mean by the occupational structure? The distribution of the population according to the different types of occupation is referred to as the occupational structure. The percentage of population that is economically active is an important index of development. Occupations are generally classified as primary, secondary, and tertiary. The proportion of people working in different activities varies in developed and the developing countries. In developed nations, there has a high proportion of people in the secondary and tertiary activities. However, developing countries tend to have a higher proportion of their workforce engaged in primary activities. In India, about 64% of the population is engaged only in agriculture, which is a primary activity. The proportion of population who is dependent on the secondary and tertiary sector is about 13 and 20% respectively. There has been an occupational shift in favor of the secondary and tertiary sectors because of the growing industrialization and urbanization in the recent times. Now, another important determinant of quality of the population is health. Health is an important component of population composition which affects the process of development. Sustained efforts of government programs have registered significant improvements in the health conditions of the Indian population. Death rates have declined from 25 per thousand population in 1951 to 7.2 per thousand in 2011. Also, the life expectancy at birth has increased from 36.7 years in 1951 to 67.9 years in 2012. The substantial improvement is the result of many factors, including the improvement in public health, prevention of infectious diseases, and application of modern medical practices in the diagnosis and the treatment of ailments. Despite considerable achievements, the health situation is a matter of major concern for India. The per capita calorie consumption is much below the recommended levels, and the malnutrition afflicts a large percentage of our population. Safe drinking water and basic sanitation amenities are available only to 1/3 of the rural population. These problems need to be tackled through an appropriate population policy. Now, let us talk about the adolescent population. The most significant feature of the Indian population is the size of its adolescent population. It constitutes 1/5 of the total population of India. Adolescents are generally grouped in the age group of 10 to 19 years. They are the most important resource for the future. The nutrition requirements of adolescents are therefore higher than those of a normal child or an adult. Poor nutrition can lead to deficiency and stunted growth. But in India, the diet available to adolescents is inadequate in all nutrients. A large number of adolescent girls suffer from anemia. Their problems have so far not received adequate attention in the process of development. The adolescent girls have to be sensitized to the problems they confront. Awareness among them can be improved through the spread of literacy and education. Now let us talk about the National Population Policy. Recognizing that the planning of families would improve individual health and welfare, the Government of India initiated a comprehensive family planning program in 1952. The Family Welfare Program has sought to promote responsible and planned parenthood on voluntary basis. The National Population Policy NDP 2000 is a culmination of years of planned efforts. The NBP 2000 provides a policy framework for imparting free and compulsory school education up to 14 years of age, reducing the infant mortality rate to below 30 per thousand live births, achieving universal immunization of children against all the vaccine preventable diseases, promoting delayed marriage for girls, and making family welfare a people-centered program. Now let us discuss about this NPP in relation to the adolescents. So NPP 2000 and adolescents. NPP 2000 identified as adolescents as one of the major sections of the population that need greater attention. Besides nutritional requirements, the policy puts greater emphasis on other important needs of the adolescents, including protection from unwanted pregnancies and the sexually transmitted diseases, that is the STDs. It called for programs that aim towards encouraging delayed marriage and childbearing, education of adolescents about the risks of unprotected sex, making contraceptive services accessible and affordable, providing food supplements, nutritional services, and strengthening the legal measures to prevent child marriage. So that is all. Thank you.